We are back on MorningLine. Our guest with us this morning. It's always good to have Glenn Cranfield on. He's such a nice man. Well, what you do, you gotta have a good heart, right? Come on.
Well, and surrounded with so many good-hearted people.
Yeah. The staff that you have there and
volunteers.
The volunteers who come in. You know, a lot of us in the media, you know, I don't mind saying, I don't give to a lot of charities. I decide on ones that I choose to give to,
sure.
and the mission is one that I do. But I also volunteer there just on Thanksgiving usually, because you know the time to come out and there's a lot of people, but I get to see it. But I need to remind myself and others that happens every day.
Every
day you're cooking. People go through the cafeteria lines. I mean, that's going to happen today. How many meals a day?
1,600 to 1,800 meals.
Breakfast,
today.
lunch, dinner.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And
right.
they come through. And I'll tell you what. The food is good.
Yeah, it is.
The food is good, and you have people that work the kitchens that are terrific.
Yeah.
And the donations still coming in up to snuff with what you need.
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag. You've told me before that you'll have obviously the canned goods. People will donate. Do hunters, can they still donate meat that they've shot?
They surely can. They surely can. Most of the time they donate after it's been processed, which we appreciate, but they sure can.
And do hotels, restaurants sometimes? I think you told me once there was a convention that wrapped up and they had a bunch of leftover lobster.
That's right.
How did that work?
It was really interesting to go into the homeless shelter at Nashville Rescue Mission for the evening meal and have lobster on your plate. But you know, that to the point of it is, so many businesses, hotels, and so forth have leftover food, and they think of us because we serve so many meals, and they bring it to us, and we serve it.
So you just never know what. I mean, the truth is, a lot of it, they can throw that away sometimes, and you think of the horrible waste of all that food, you never know what they're going to show up with.
Yeah, right.
And most of the time, you know, whatever it is, sometimes you have to serve it right away, right?
But it's very good, very good. You know, I was, which happens to me frequently, I'll see somebody on the side of the road, and I'll roll down the window just to have a conversation with them quickly as I can. And I said, hey, let me take you to the mission where we can not only get you a couple bucks right now, that's what you're looking for, but there'll be 3 good meals, a place to spend the night, case management and help. And then the last one he said, oh, they don't serve anything there but popcorn and coffee. And so I said, you know, and not knowing who I was, right? And so I'm saying, you know, well, I actually know that's not the case. And I shared with them what they served the night before, you know, hamburgers and hot dogs. And for lunch they had baked chicken and so forth. He said, why do you know what they serve there? And I said, well, I work there. And he says, oh, so my line's not helping you at all, is it? And I said, no, it's not, because I know what they serve there. And it's very good.
I hope he showed up. I hope he went, you know? I mean, you see those people. And I've actually shared that with folks before. You know, I'll say, you know, if you need help. There's so many, you know, on the corners, you know, a lot of them selling the newspapers and things like that. And they probably know where to get the help. But that leads me to what we were going to talk about going to the break. So you'll get them in, and the first thing is, you know, you have a place to sleep tonight and you have food. But if someone then is like, well, what more? I want to be committed. I don't want to just come and leave and then come back the next day. What can you do? And talk about the programs that are set up to get people back on their feet.
So they meet with the case manager first, everybody that comes in, which kind of, you know, what brought you here, what brings you to homelessness, what happened, did you lose your apartment, whatever it is. We find out as much information as we can, and then we share with them what we can do. And so we have a life recovery program, which what we call it, for men and for women. And so they're assigned a case manager and a counselor and a therapist. And we try to work with their internal issues that they have. But they will also have classes that they attend for everything from financial management to personal hygiene to other serious issues and serious things. We have group counseling that they also attend.
Because some will have substance abuse or mental illness issues.
Absolutely. And so on the substance abuse, I mean, there's a whole track to get you out of that situation. Obviously, there's, you know, we can't have substance abuse at the mission, and so that they have this very structured, from computer classes to everything, math classes, GED, very structured environment for 7 to 12 months. And so we're asking you to commit to us for this time period. And here's all that we're going to do to help you. But the biggest issue or the biggest help in all of that is the counseling and therapy. Because sometimes what brought you here, we've got to really change that way of thinking and get you out of the situation that you're in. So we tell people you need to change your play pals, your play things, and your play places. And so the places that you've gone, the people that you've hung out with, and the things you've done, it's going to take a lot of time in therapy and counseling to get through that.
So you have so many people go through. Is there a percentage that succeed getting through the program?
Probably about 30% is the number we hover, sometimes up and sometimes
That's a very hard thing. I was going to say, for them to give it up, and maybe they have to, as they say, sometimes hit rock bottom, and maybe they haven't yet, even when they've arrived at the mission, but 30% maybe make it through the what did you say, 6 to 8 months?
Yeah, 7 to 12.
7 to 12 months, and then when they're done, if that 30% is done, you help them, do you have job placement?
Yeah, that's in the last part of that, the last couple of months, job placement and seeking employment, an independent place to live. But we also have transitional housing. And so when some person graduates from the program, they can go into the transitional housing, save money. They're not paying for the housing. We're providing that, so they're able to, you know, create a little nest egg to help them get through the
It is just, when you really think about how it's set up, and you know, there are models like this all across the country, it's just wonderful. I mean, again, someone has to commit to it, and you say, sadly, only 30%, and others could, but they're just not ready to do it. But I mean, it's just fantastic. They go through this, and they have a shot, and especially I would think in this day and age, I did a story the other day about how employers are so desperate for employees these days that it's giving more opportunities to those, not referring to the homeless community, but those who maybe have had a prior criminal record. You know, you get out, you paid your debt to society, but you have this scarlet letter because maybe you had an arrest on your record. And in the past, sometimes that locks you out of getting a job. Now they're hiring. And I would think those in the homeless, not saying that they have criminal records, but those in the homeless maybe getting started are getting more opportunities now,
That's right, yeah.
I mean, are there more job chances as we sit here now for them?
Well, yes, there are. You know, the economy is such, I don't think there's anybody working right now.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people hiring. We know that.
Exactly.
I thought that might help them get on their feet again if they're looking for that job after running through course.
Sure, yeah. In the service industry, especially waiters at, you know, one of the places that I eat lunch sometimes is south of downtown. And I was out there with a board member, and we ordered, and the guy came up to me, and I didn't recognize him. He said, "Hey, Mr. Cranfield." And I looked at him, you know, I recognized the face, didn't know the name, but immediately I knew he was a graduate of the program at Nashville Rescue Mission, working as a waiter there. And, you know, that just does so much to your heart. And able to share it with the board members, saying, hey, look right here is the result of our efforts at the mission.
Now, also, though, not everyone that comes has to go through that whole program.
No, that's great.
It's a misnomer, too, to think that if they're homeless, they're not working. There are working homeless. There are a lot of them
many
that have lost their shelter because maybe they lost a job for a while or had a medical problem, and so they maybe didn't work briefly, but they got back the job, but they have no place to live. So how do you handle those cases differently?
Well, we have many that work, and we have what we call the workers' dorm. And so because they work at different times and different hours, and so we have that place where they can go in and actually spend the night there. But you're right, just because you're homeless doesn't mean you don't work, doesn't mean you have a job. So working for minimum wage, many of them, they just can't maintain independent living on a minimum wage. And so we're able to keep them working, but able to provide them a place to sleep, and we provide the meals for them. We do bag lunches for those that can't come back for lunch. And so all those things are meant to really give them the power to continue in their employment, and then we'll provide the shelter for you.
And as you said, maybe if you do that long enough, they can build a nest egg that maybe gives them the ability to find a place to live independently, which they want to get back to. most of them do. Do they show up with suitcases sometimes?
Sometimes, you know, Nashville.
Like these are my positions?
Right, absolutely. And Nashville is one of the unique places. I serve on the board of the rescue missions across the United States. There are over 300 of them. But Nashville is unique in that we will have people come through the food time meantime with a guitar on their back. And so, you know, it's just one of those unique things about Nashville. They're musicians, they may be playing on a street corner somewhere, but they're coming to us for shelter and food.
Yeah, I guess, do people come from all around? I mean, you have folks there that are not just from the Nashville area. They may have migrated here recently, maybe to try to make it in music, as you said. But I mean, it's the demographic or where they come from. Is it all around the country sometimes?
It is.
Well, I was here from Arizona, moved here, and didn't work out.
Alabama is really in the southeast.
Mostly in the southeast.
In the southeast, we have a lot from the southeast. They're not all from Nashville. They come to Nashville and not, you know, where are you from? And they'll say, well, I'm from East Nashville. And I'll say, well, where are you really from? You know, well, I'm from Orlando or from you know, different places. And so, you know, we're grateful that there's a place that they can come and receive the really quality care and help that we provide.
Your dream would be to be out of work, wouldn't
Absolutely.
it? See, I know.
Absolutely. I would love to if we could solve the homelessness issue.
Yeah, I know.
And everybody have a place, everybody be taken care of, and I'll go look for another job somewhere.
Wouldn't that be great?
It would be.
That's not going to happen to the degree where we ever were going to lose you. Thank goodness for that. And what we'll do is take a break, and in our final segment, kind of touch a little bit on the whole idea of this issue of homelessness. We've talked about it with the vice mayor who comes on, other community leaders. You know, you hear Ann talking about it, who's very engaged. The Homeless Commission. I know you're an observer of that, and what, from your perspective, may or may not work? It's nothing new here, but I mean, you see it firsthand. What, if you had the magic wand and can control it, would you think would be best to do to address this homeless situation in Nashville? We'll take a break and be back with our final segment with our guest right after this.